Hello, dear fans, friends, and subscribers. Welcome to an early edition of Cricket Happenings with your host Ram. Well, as far as today's Cricket Happening show goes, it's going to be the preview of two matches which is coming up and one very important clash that is going to happen in the tri series between Sri Lanka and Zimbabwe. As you know, Sri Lanka are the ones who have not actually got off the ground in the tri series. They are still yet to score a point in the tri series. They lost the match to Bangladesh yesterday. Bangladesh registering the highest ever margin win against any opposition in ODIs, and they also lost against Zimbabwe, who beat them convincingly. And now, today, Zimbabwe and Sri Lanka are facing for the second time, and it's a must-win game for Sri Lanka. And I'm sure Chandike Hathurasinghe would have given a lot of lessons to the Sri Lankan batsmen. And as you know, much was expected, but it was a really they surrendered very meekly to Bangladesh. So, but Zimbabwe are also looking very strong. Let me tell you. So, I'm going to do a preview of the game between Sri Lanka and Zimbabwe, which is coming up. Other than that, the next preview that I'll be doing will be the third one-day international of the Gillette Cup one-day series, which is coming up between Australia and New Zealand at the Australia and England at the Sydney Cricket Ground. England are on the ascendant here. One more loss to Australia, and Australia will be out of the ODI series. In the sense, Australia would have lost the ODI series, and England would be raring to go because they have been definitely hitting Australia hard after the Test series win by Australia. So it will be very interesting. This is a different kettle of fish in which Australia and England are, and England right now on the ascendant. So I'll be doing a preview of the match, and also I will have a very brief talk on the northern districts. As you know, in New Zealand, they play the local, we call it the Super Smash, which is the Super Smash local T20 tournament. Yesterday was the finals of the Super Smash, and northern districts were the proud victors, as they had a very easy victory, as I will be talking about. They beat the central districts to actually win the Super Smash tournament in Hamilton, in New Zealand. So these are the things. But I'm definitely going to start off with the fixture between Sri Lanka and Zimbabwe, because it is definitely holding a lot of interest. And as you know, Zimbabwe would be raring to go. So let's look at Sri Lanka. As I said, for Sri Lanka, it's a very, very important game. They have to win this. If they are not going to win this, I might probably say that it's probably curtains for Sri Lanka. It's going to be very tough for them, and they have to depend on other results happening. So let's see what Sri Lanka can do and where exactly they are failing and what they need to do. Now, Chandike Hathurasinghe is the coach of the Sri Lankan team, and as I said, he would have given a few lessons to them. But it was really surprising yesterday, I thought, Sri Lanka losing against Bangladesh. But Sri Lanka, let's talk about Kushal Perera and Upul Taranga. Kushal Perera has been giving starts, and also one has to say that Zimbabwe definitely holding the wood over Sri Lanka, because they have already had 3 victories over Sri Lanka. As you know, Zimbabwe also won against Sri Lanka in Sri Lanka as well. So they definitely are an absolute roll against Sri Lanka. And Sri Lanka, Kushal Perera, Upul Taranga will open. Now what would be very direly needed is for Sri Lanka to set a very solid base with the openers leading from the center. Kushal Perera and Upul Taranga have to put their heads down and see to it that they put up a big partnership. And then Kushal Mendes definitely is not looking his old self. Probably after he was dropped, he has come back into the Sri Lankan team, and he needs to do a lot more to find his bearings. And that is very important. Niroshan Dikwala is a very exciting cricketer, and Niroshan Dikwala, to me, For me, probably I would rather prefer Niroshan Dikwala, the wicketkeeper batsman, to actually open the innings, according to me, and probably slot Upul Taranga at one drop, or probably Niroshan Dikwala opening the innings with Kishore Pereira and Upul Taranga coming, and that is something that they need to think, but this is purely my opinion, that I would like to see two dashers at the top of the order, Kushal Pereira and Niroshan Dikwala, and tell them to really go hammer and tongs at the Zimbabwean bowlers in the power play overs. Yes, it is very easy to say that Kyle Jarvis and Tendai Chatara has been bowling a very good line, and it's not easy, but probably they would experiment something here. Niroshan Dikwala, so that's what my take is of the whole situation. Dinesh Chandimal has been struggling a bit. As I said, he has been given an open license by Chandigarh Singh to go for his strokes, as he showed with his reverse sweeps. But definitely Dinesh Chandimal has not really hit his straps, and that is what one is waiting from the Sri Lankan captain. As you know, Dinesh Chandimal, I always have believed that he was a very good talent from Sri Lanka, and I think he should be playing his natural game, and the natural game that Dinesh Chandimal plays is his aggressive self, and that's what one wants to see from Sri Lanka. Asela Gunaratne has not been among the runs, but we all know what he brings to the table for Sri Lanka and what he is capable of. Tisra Pereira has been really hogging the headlines for Sri Lanka in a dismal showing till now in the trade series, but Tisra Pereira has been really doing every time he has been coming up with the fireworks. Now we need Sri Lanka to actually set a good base, and then Tisra Pereira could be a very dangerous customer for Zimbabwe. The bowling, Suranga Lakmal has looked very ordinary, absolutely ordinary. Even the tailenders have really gone on and clubbed him for fours and sixes. So that is Suranga Lakmal. As you know, he's one of those customers who can really bowl stump to stump, and I was a bit surprised that Suranga Lakmal has been going for a lot of runs of late. Nuwan Pradeep would be the other bowler, but the spin department, I think Hasiranga, the leg spinner, would be making way for the Chinaman bowler Lakshan Sandak, and I think that's a very good move by Sri Lanka, I reckon. And Akila Dhananjaya has been doing his job there. So let's have a look at the Zimbabwean team. As far as Sri Lanka are concerned, as I already said, that they need a lot to do. But looking at the Zimbabwean team, I have to say this Zimbabwean team is looking full of beans, according to me, because Zimbabwe Hamilton Masakadza, very experienced campaigner. He has been very successful against Sri Lanka, and Solomon Mar, another very aggressive bat, and I think this is the most trusted opening pair that Zimbabwe has, and both are capable of giving electric starts, I would say. Craig Irvine is coming in as one drop, is also another useful player. Brendan Taylor, to talk about once again about experience, what he can do when he comes to bat. Now Sikandar Raza has been a sort of a breath of fresh air for Zimbabwe. He has been showing amazing consistency. He has been hitting the runs right, left and center, and Sikandar Raza would be expected to once again play well. And they still have some nice pinch hitters in the lower order. Two guys, according to me, Malcolm Waller and Peter Moore, can really turn it on when the time comes. Graham Creamer himself, the captain, leads from the front with his all-round abilities. And then they have the bowling of Kyle Jarvis and Tendai Chatara. Tendai Chatara, to me, this season has been bowling superbly. Kyle Jarvis needs to just get that up a bit a notch, I would say, and he would be also a sort of a very difficult customer to face. And Blessing Muzrabani has been going for a bit of runs, but definitely has shown that he has a lot of pace in him. And I'm also told that this pitch in Mirpur could possibly take some turns. So probably, but as I said, even if it takes turn, I think even Zimbabwe, if you look at it, there are a lot of spinners. Sikandar Raza will bowl. You have Malcolm Waller to get his offies. Graham Creamer himself is a leg spinner. And then they have Hamilton Masakadza who can bowl his office. Solomon Meyer can bowl just military medium pace. and so definitely there's a lot to look out for, and I think this is the match which is going to hold the attention as far as international cricket is concerned, because a very crucial match for Sri Lanka coming up, and the Sri Lankan cricket fans would be hoping that today Sri Lanka put it across Zimbabwe and keep their hopes alive in the Tri-Series. Now we shift on to the Sydney cricket ground, where Australia will be taking on England in the third one-day international that is coming up. Australians are under the pump right now, already lost two one-day internationals on the trot, and England are breathing with confidence. So let's have a look at the Aussies and see. But one thing I can tell for the Aussies today, that the Aussies know that this is a very important game for them. One more slip up and Australia would have lost the ODI series. So what Australia have done here is that they have strengthened the team to the fullest possible extent. They have got all their players ready. The pace attack is looking pretty sharp now. Mitchell Starc was there the other day. And in fact, Josh Hazlewood is back after the injury. Pat Cummins is into the mix as well. Tim Payne, the wicketkeeper, even though Alex Carey on ODI debut played a very impressive knock, Tim Payne is back into the mix as well. So definitely the Australians are going at full throttle here against England, and they know how important this game is. It's a must-win game for Australia as well. The good thing for Australia has been Aaron Finch, who has been living in the ruins, I would say. I've been standing amidst the ruins with centuries, and he has got 2 centuries now. And David Warner has not really got going, in the sense he has not really got to a big score, and he would be hoping that for Australia getting their best chance of victory today is for David Warner getting the same support from Aaron Finch and going on and putting a massive partnership to rile the Englishman. Stephen Smith has also not really hit he has not really got going right now. Travis Head has also been failing. Mitchell Marsh to a certain extent has been doing a fair job. Marcus Stoinis also be expected to do. Tim Payne would also be expected to do something with the bat. And the bowling, I think, is looking very sharp. Mitchell Starc, Cummins and Hazlewood. I think this will definitely strengthen the Aussie team. And Adam Zampa is the sole experiment. It will be interesting to see whether Australia would be once again going with the same spinners. As I said, they probably made an error in the previous game where England actually had a lot of spinners and Australia were ruining the fact that they didn't have a spinner. So let's have a look at the Sydney cricket ground as to what has really happened. I'm told that there are 4 one-day internationals that has been played in the past, or probably the recent past, and it says that there has been turn. There was turn. Now, whether Australia will be tempted to get into the a lot of spinners in their mix, that will be a very, very interesting question, according to me, whether Australia ought to go for an extra spinner. Now, the other thing, as far as England are concerned, England, I have to say, they are marching with immense confidence into the third one-day international at the Sydney cricket ground. I can also share a few statistics which I'll be coming later. I think Travis Head is just probably closer to the 1,000 mark in one-day internationals. England, Jason Roy and Johnny Bairstow, if they get going, they can really hurt the Australians. It is good news that all the England players are really getting into top gear. Jason Roy, Johnny Bairstow, Alex Hales, Joe Root. Morgan is the one who is expected to do something with the bat, because for the 2 matches he has not really contributed. Josh Buttler also played a sort of cameo. Morgan would be expected to deliver the goods in this third ODI and probably play a captain's knock to see to it that England don't lose this opportunity of closing the ODI series against Australia at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Moeen Ali, as I said, Australia, one thing that England has is that they boast of a very, very strong batting lineup which can bat up till number 10. Moeen Ali, Chris Woakes, Adil Rashid, Liam Plunkett, Mark Wood can only be considered a genuine tail-ender. Other than that, I think England really pack a punch in their batting all the way down the order. Chris Woakes can, he showed in the previous one-day international as to how calm and composed he was when he was in the partnership with Joe Root. Adil Rashid also is a very good bat. Plunkett can also really bat well, and I think we are in for a super clash here at the Sydney Cricket Ground between England and Australia. Now, the last thing that I'm going to talk on this cricket show is going to be the finals. Now, the finals, we are talking about the local T20 tournament, which they call it the Super Smash, and I definitely like that name. Whoever has coined it for the T20, it looks a very apt name. A Super Smash tournament at Hamilton, and it was the finals of the Super Smash. It was played between Central Districts and Northern Districts. The Central Districts really did not play a game worthy of a final, as they were restricted to just 99 for 8. The highest scorer being Gary Worker at the top of the order, 37 of 33 deliveries with 4 fours. Jesse Ryder, who nowadays does not play for New Zealand, as you know, collected a blob. Young made 5, Tom Bruce 3, Cleaver 10, Clarkson 2, Wheeler 1, Small was not out on 21 at the end, Say Trans 4, 99 for 8 was never a good score. And they look at the bowling from the Northern Districts bowlers. The captain, Anton Davesic, leading an all-round performance. First to the ball, 4 overs, no maiden, 16 runs on 3 wickets. He's Soli, 2 for 15, 2 for 24 for Scott Coughlin, and BJ Arnold Fords 1 for 19. So a very good bowling effort. Chris Jordan, 3 overs, none for 19, and Mitchell, 1 over, none for 5. Northern Districts were given a target, a paltry target of 100 to 99 to 100 to actually win the match, and they lost Seaford to Tickner for 23 of 12 balls with 5 fours. But Anton Davesic, the Northern Districts captain, took over to slam an unbeaten 51 of just 24 deliveries, 8 fours and 2 sixes. Brownlee was not out on 28 of 17 with 5 fours, as Northern Districts wrapped up the match in the 9th over itself with going at a rate of 11.66 and over, 103 for 1, game over. And Seth Rance was a bit awry, 2 overs was clattered for 15. Ben Wheeler's 1 over cost 10 runs. Tigner went for 30 of his 2. Patel 2.5. So everybody received a real severe tap on their bowling. And Gary Worker went for 10 runs. And Anton Davesic was the man who took them. The captain was the hero of the show, as Northern Districts won the 2018 Super Smash New Zealand Domestic T20 Tournament, and congratulations to them. Well, dear fans and subscribers, it's about time for me to pull the curtain down on this daily cricket show of mine today. With this being said, this is your host Ram signing off for the day. Thank you.